But look, a warning, this is going to be a long video, so make yourself comfy, grab a nice drink. I'm going to be here for the duration. If long videos are not for you, then call a taxi because you need to travel to the next video pronto. Hello and welcome to a review of the Degritter. Degritter is the name of the company, Degritter is the name of the product. This is a record cleaning machine, and unlike the Disco Anti-Stat vinyl cleaner, which I did a little while ago, and I'll put a link up above in case you missed that, that one was a rather budget-friendly, budget-conscious machine. This one is completely the opposite. It's rather expensive. In fact, it's £2,500 expensive. This is a high-end machine. Now, this machine is based on ultrasonic technologies. Now, the difference with this particular ultrasonic cleaner is that it's bespoke. The ultrasonic baths used in low-cost ultrasonic vinyl cleaning machines have not been designed to clean vinyl. They are general workhorses designed to clean everything from watches and necklaces to coins and even false teeth. This is why bespoke ultrasonic vinyl cleaners are so darned expensive, because they have been created to do nothing else but clean vinyl. And let's not forget, vinyl is relatively soft. It arrives as a flat disc. It is coated with tiny spiral grooves. It does not, by any stretch of the imagination, resemble a pair of false teeth. I wouldn't expect a tool to clean a set of dentures to do a superb job on my first pressing of Abbey Road. You need the right tools for the job to do the best job. This is why a bespoke ultrasonic cleaner is worthy of attention. Now, don't get me wrong, I do value and I have reviewed low-cost, do-it-yourself, homebrew ultrasonic vinyl cleaning machines. And generally speaking, they're very good indeed. And I would prefer them over manual cleaning methods any day of the week. In fact, I've reviewed one on my website and I will put a link in the description and you can read that for yourself. And I do like them. As I say, they're good performers on a general level, but they are not of the same quality in cleaning terms as a bespoke RCM, a bespoke record cleaning machine. What you'll find with the lower cost ultrasonic cleaners on the market is that they use a bought-in, pre-built, Chinese-made ultrasonic bath. And then what they do is they add bits so it can be used to clean vinyl. Not with the Degritter, as I say, which has been built from the ground up to do nothing but clean vinyl. That's its job. That's what it's designed to do, nothing else. Now, ultrasonic technologies have been around a long time in heavy industry. They're used to clean oil-caked tensile steel, big, meaty, chunky parts, and all that kind of stuff. Or they're used to clean circuit boards. Lots of industry type gear, basically. The use of ultrasonic technologies to clean relatively soft vinyl records is new, still, even now. So the evolution of ultrasonic machines is pretty rapid. It's changing all the time. Very basically, and I won't go into detail at all here, but ultrasonic technologies produce something called cavitation that ultimately results in the production of millions, billions of tiny bubbles. Each tiny bubble holds a tiny amount of energy. When it hits something, the bubble bursts. The energy is released, and anything adjacent to this exploding bubble will be affected. So if the bubble bursts in a groove, if there's any grime or grit or muck actually next to the bursting bubble, it will be dislodged and the grime or grit will be thrown away from the groove. That's essentially how an ultrasonic cleaner works. The generator for an ultrasonic cleaner, which you can't see, it's built into the machine itself, produces different size bubbles. A 35 kilohertz to 40 kilohertz machine, that's your general common or garden model that you would buy in, say, Amazon, and are used as the basis for most of these low-cost vinyl cleaners you see around, they produce a relatively large-ish bubble. That has an effect on the cleaning performance. The Degritter uses a much smaller bubble. Instead of 35 to 40 kilohertz, the Degritter uses 120 kilohertz. The bubbles are much finer, much smaller. I asked Degritter about this, why they used 120 kilohertz as the generating frequency, about the bubble size. I also asked them about possible damage that ultrasonic technologies might do to vinyl, because there has been worries on the internet, oh, ultrasonic cleaning, oh, it damages a vinyl, oh, I wouldn't use it. There's been lots of fears about that. So I put that to the company as well. I did get answers, and I did my own secondary research to back those answers up. So I was happy with those answers. I'm not going to address them here. Again, it's going to take too long. So I'm going to put those questions and answers actually in the description. You can read what they say in the actual description. Another issue that I wanted to talk to them about was reliability of the Degritter. Ultrasonic cleaners are complex beasts. When they first come out, most of them, if not all of them, have wrinkles that they have to iron out. Audiodesk, when that first arrived on the scene, that had issues which was ironed out, and that's a reliable machine now. The Degritter, when that first hit the streets, that had a few issues in terms of reliability and performance, and those issues have been ironed out as well. However, I did point a finger at Degritter and I said, explain yourself, sunshine, and they said fine, and they answered those questions as well. I'm going to put all of that again in the description if you want to check those out. If you want to read what the company itself said, I will put all of that in the description. Now, this Degritter ultrasonic cleaner basically cleans 12-inch records. That's its default size, okay? So that's what it's designed to do. The company, however, did produce two different adapters to enable you to clean 7-inch singles and also 10-inch singles, EPs, whatever you want to call them. So you can clean 7-inch and 10-inch discs if you buy these additional adapters. Now, I have reviewed both of these adapters and I've compared them to other products from other companies. There isn't a video of that, and I don't think there will be, but I have done a review on my website. You will see the full review. It's a separate review of both of those adapters for the Degritter on my website. And what I'm going to do, you guessed it, I'm going to put a link down in the description. You can see the actual review. If you click on that link, it will take you straight to the website and you can read, and then you can come back later if you fancy that. But the full review is actually on my site via that link in the description. So let's get to the actual machine itself. What have we got here? Well, it looks and feels pretty solid. It spans 370 millimeters by 280 by 210 millimeters and packs in the weight at 8.7 kilograms. It also screams value. It arrives in a silver or black finish, but I tested the silver variant. Now, looking at this machine, I don't know how many people have said, oh, it looks like a toaster. And I can see that. But when you're actually standing in front of it though, I don't know, it looks like a piece of brutalist architecture. It looks like somebody's chopped up a piece of girder. It has that chunky feel to it. And it does feel as though it's giving you value. It feels meaty, you know? And then just to sort of balance that out, you've got this sort of 50s era flourish of a logo on the top left-hand side, which softens things just a touch. So look, let's get close up and personal, and let's take a closer look. And welcome to the closer look section. And as you can see in front of you, to the right of the front fascia is a circular control screen, and underneath that are two multifunction knobs. That is, they rotate, but they also push inwards. The left knob changes the drying time and stops the cleaning process. The right knob starts or pauses the drying process, but also navigates the menus. That circular colourful screen provides a host of information. During the cleaning process, a circular changing band of lights will show the ratio between the washing process and the drying process, and in different colours. The total program time, the selected program, and the progress bar. It's all highly intuitive. Delving deeper into the navigation window, here you can adjust the drying time itself. You can bounce between quick, which is 2 minutes and 15 seconds, medium, that's 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and heavy, 6 minutes and 45 seconds. The medium cycle is your standard cycle. Quick is for generally clean records that may have accumulated some light dust over the days or weeks, while heavy is for more thorough jobs. I tended to use heavy, to be honest, because it proved more effective, at least it did for me. The dry option is automatically attached to each cleaning cycle, but it can also be selected as a separate program if you wish, and can be extended for just over 15 minutes, or indeed it can be turned off altogether. I actually like the fact that this option is also available separately. I find that, at least in other ultrasonic machines, either the vinyl recipe or the profile or the weight or all three has a bearing on how fast a disc will dry. The Degritter's variation in drying is invaluable therefore. That said, the default wash-dry cycle proved to be just fine for me in my tests. Connected to that is the ability to vary the drying fan speed and also the fan noise. If you lower the fan speed and hence the noise, the drying time will increase though. Even so, it's a very useful option, especially if you're using the machine at night and you don't want to disturb the rest of the family. I'm also happy to see a degas or degauss depending on your affiliations. Whatever your favourite, this option smooths the water, removing any trapped oxygen, for example, which can hamper the cleaning process. The operation takes 2 minutes and 15 seconds. There's also a water level setting, low, medium and high. These settings will basically move the water closer to or further away from the central vinyl record label during cleaning. This is ideal for oddly sized labels that risk damage during cleaning, while it also allows you to experiment and maximize the cleaning process. You're actually given a measurement strip jig in the box that will allow you to guesstimate exactly how any particular record will be affected by the water level. All you have to do is lay the jig on the record to see how far low, medium and high actually reaches on your dirty record. There's a semicircle bit on the right of the jig, which is where you rest the jig against the turntable spindle. Then you can apply the correct settings according to your findings on the jig. Again, an excellent feature. This one should greatly appeal to nervous record collectors, I would think. The only issue I had was that the jig is made from card, a relatively fragile material. I would have preferred something rather longer lasting. Now, I did actually point this out to the company, and I will put their reply in the description below. There's a useful info screen in the navigation section as well. It provides a serial number for your machine. This number should be used to register your number on the company website. There's a software version, the current temperature in the water tank, again, very useful, and how many cycles the machine has run. Oh, and I mentioned software. Yes, this machine is run on a software basis and can thus be updated. Features can be and have been enhanced and tweaked by the company. I did perform an update during the review period and found it pretty quick to do so. You just transfer the bin file from the website to a large SD card. You pop the card into the rear of the Degritter machine while the machine is turned off. Then you turn the machine on and the update is done in a flash. So quickly, in fact, I initially wondered if there was a fault because the machine told me to remove the SD card almost immediately. Checking the info screen confirmed that the update had occurred though. it's pretty swift. The machine is run off a basic IEC power cord. The chassis features a rocker power switch on the rear, but a soft shutdown and startup can be initiated by pressing the left multifunction knob for 2 seconds. That said, if you don't touch the degritter for 15 minutes, then the machine will power down automatically. On the right side of the machine are the ventilation slots and a cover for a small filter capsule that hides behind a screw cap. This can be opened with the application of a small coin used as a pseudo screwdriver. Be aware that opening and closing the tight-fitting filter cover will scuff and remove paint over time because you're using that coin-type screwdriver. It's not a big deal though, and this cover is hidden away around the side, so it can't be seen on a day-to-day basis. The filter, which looks like a suppository or possibly a leftover cheesy what's-it, can be removed and washed. Washing is recommended after 50 to 100 degritter cycles. The actual figure though depends on the mucky nature of the records themselves. That said, if the machine itself thinks the filter is too dirty, it will tell you in no uncertain terms, and it will actually down tools, and it won't move until you've cleaned it, which I love. It's an excellent feature. Petulant maybe, but nevertheless, I found it excellent. Before removing the filter for washing, I recommend placing something like a tea towel under the degritter itself, because you'll probably get a dribble of bath liquid that will emerge from the hole. Not much, but enough to form a small puddle. Laying a cloth under the degritter will catch and soak any minor spills. Degritter recommends replacing the filter itself after reusing it 2 or 3 times. But this also depends on the filter and your level of use. Replacement filters can be bought either directly from Degritter for €22 for a pack of 5, but, quote, "we do not mind when the users create their own," said the company. And again, I'll put a few notes in the description about making your own. Unlike other ultrasonic cleaners I've used, the Degritter's water tank is mounted on the rear of the machine, and it's removable and washable in a dishwasher, although I would recommend a gentle hand wash. The external bath is a superb addition, and one that is particularly user-friendly because you don't have to disturb the rest of the machine if the bath needs refilling. Now, if the bath does need refilling but doesn't require an infrequent empty-out wash, then you can fill from a bottle directly into the bath. I personally used a ready-mixed concoction of 7% isopropyl alcohol and distilled water stored in a 2-litre plastic bottle. The bath features a loosely fitting yet secure removable lid to facilitate cleaning and filling, and you can see the separate lid here. Alternatively, you can pull out the bath from the rear of the degritter. To help, the bath has a metal bar, and it's that aluminium coloured bar that you can see running through the centre of the bath here. And as you can see, the bar runs horizontally right across the bath, and it can be used as a handle. I did wonder if the handle would bear the weight of the water in a full bath, but the company confirmed that it had never had any issues. Now, I hope you can see in this shot there's a minimum and maximum water level pairing etched into the plastic in this slot-in bath unit. I know it's a bit difficult to see, but I hope you can see here with the light reflecting on it. The company now recommends that basically you ignore these limits, actually recommending that when you fill the bath, you actually exceed the maximum level during use. Now, if you want to know why the company recommends exceeding the maximum level and the reasoning and the issues behind all of that, check out the description. I'll put full company quotes in that section and you can see for yourself. Oh, and the company recommends a water change after 30 records to prevent a growth of microbes in the actual bath. Another note, ultrasonic cleaning does increase water temperature. It does that during the process itself. The Degritter's software automatically monitors this temperature, and if the temperature exceeds 35 degrees centigrade, the action will pause and cooling will occur for 3 minutes to restore normal temperature levels. Cool air is pushed through the machine to reduce the temperature. One thing not talked about in the boxed manual is that you can give the degritter a clean internally using a toothbrush. Now, I asked the company about this and they kindly supplied some advice and some bullet pointed cleaning instructions. I will put all of that again in the description, so check it out down there. Okay, so before we talk about the sound quality, let's describe the machine in use. I grabbed me my record to be cleaned. This one was Avalon by Roxy Music, and I inserted the record into the degritter slot, and I noticed that nothing grabbed onto the record itself. The slim slot configuration did do an effective job of keeping the record in a vertical position during the clean. And one thing I really liked about how the degritter held the record was this, that when you lowered the record into the machine, firstly, you felt as though the record wasn't going to topple over or it wasn't going to move in any way. You felt as though the degritter had a firm grasp of the actual record, which is a good thing. Secondly, when the actual record's in the machine itself, there's a bit of give. You can push it, there's a bit of wobble, and that's a good thing, because when you lower that record, you don't feel as though you're putting the record in a complex collection of gears and belts and goodness knows what machinery. So you don't feel as though the machine is holding your precious record. It's just in this slot. It's almost like freely sitting on a pair of rollers. That's the only thing which touches the record, is rollers at the bottom of the actual slot. And when the rollers go round, the record goes around. That's the only thing holding this record. Now, I've repeated that a few times. That's a great thing. Nothing is holding the record. Nothing is squeezing the record. Nothing is threatening to twist or bend the record. You feel as though the record is being cradled by these rollers. So there's no other strains, there's no stresses, there's no pressures on the record itself. You feel as though the degritter is being gentle, and that's what you want. You want a gentle clean. So you want the machine to hold the record gently. Pressing start fired up the machine into a hum. Nothing too aggressive on the ears. It was certainly bearable. I could also hear the sharper sounds of the cavitation process during the ultrasonic cleaning. The disc was rotated several degrees to the left and then a few degrees to the right and more to the left, and so on. I was struck that the degritter used and stored relatively less water than any other ultrasonic record cleaning machine I have seen on the market. It's an efficient machine in this regard. This bouncing to and fro action carried on for several minutes until the water was drained, and the drying time took place for around 7.5 minutes. The cycle itself was titled inside the window. So for example, the drying process featured a large white drying text underneath the numeric countdown. The drying process also displayed green coloured LCD segments, while the wash was in blue segments. The remaining time was measured in lighter grey segments. Once completed, the machine offered a few subtle beeps and the drying vacuum sound ceased, and that was that. Drying was complete and efficient, with no smearing or wet spots, and removing the disc was easy. Again, you never felt that the vinyl was dragging against anything during removal. It just lifted easily from the slot. Another thing I want to add, one not mentioned in the manual, is a strange little cycle that pops seemingly out of nowhere and takes control of your machine and sends it through an action of some sort. This is the mysterious machine maintenance. Unprompted and unasked for, this operation appears as an automatic procedure and it runs on every 60, 110, 160 and 210 runs to clean the machine's valves. The process takes about 30 seconds and the machine will continue with the regular cleaning afterwards. Degritter promises to add this to the manual ASAP, but if you see it occurring on your machine, don't be concerned, all is well. And on that note, let's see how this machine actually performs. Does it actually improve the sound of your vinyl? Let's check out the sound quality tests and we'll see. And welcome to the sound quality tests for the Degritter record cleaning machine. Now, when I actually used the machine itself, I also included my own cleaning regime. Now, I won't go into great detail about this regime in this video. I'll save that for a later video. But briefly, it's this. I mix up my own surfactant mix. I'll put a link top left there so you can see what surfactants I use and what surfactants are all about in the first place. So for a normal clean cycle, I applied surfactant to the surface of the vinyl. Then I put the vinyl in the machine and started the cleaning in that way. In the bath, I would put distilled water and I would add 7% of isopropyl alcohol to that water, all mixed in, and the combo, the surfactant on the actual vinyl and the alcohol in the water, would do its stuff. That's the additions I made to the actual machine. Apart from the machine itself, that's all I added. I used an original pressing of Roxy Music's Avalon, and I decided to run that first in the sound tests, but without any surfactant. I didn't add the Degritter cleaning fluid either. I just wanted to see the result of a single clean in heavy mode. So this disc had nothing added to it, and in the bath we're just looking at alcohol and water. And before we go any further, I just want to report that the jig worked perfectly. On the album I used, positioning the jig, it said that the water would sit just shy of the label, and that's what happened. There was no splashes, the label never got wet, it was bone dry throughout, so the jig worked absolutely wonderfully. Next, and this is an early stage of the cleaning, but even after one cycle with no surfactant added, I could hear sonic improvements. There was an infusion of air and space into the soundstage. The latter also opened up a tad, while the mid-range sounded very smooth. It flowed very easily indeed, with backing harmonies sounding almost tidal as they wafted in and out of the music during the chorus. The reduction in the noise floor also added a swathe of new reverb, which was added across all frequencies, adding life and a sense of dynamic pizzazz to the playback. The extra reverb, or echo if you like, was a dramatic addition to the sound improvements. There was reverb in parts of this track I'd never heard before. It was completely new, and it was a bit of an eye-opener, I must say. I then added my usual surfactant to the vinyl surface, and I used Tergitol, and then I gave it another heavy cycle clean. In fact, I decided to run for 3 cycles. That is, I added surfactant to the vinyl surface and then did a heavy clean, and that was 1 cycle. I did 3 cycles in all. Now, I was expecting to hear a further improvement going from 1 to an additional 3 cycles. I was hoping to hear that improvement. I just didn't know how much. And my response was, well, it was intriguing, because I had that sort of pursed lips, finger wagging in the air. You know, the, oh yeah, that's the one. You know, that sort of response. Yeah, that response. I got a lot of that. After the, well, I did 1 clean, then another 3, so 4 in total. It made a big difference. It really hit a spot, put it that way. Why? Well, the combination of multiple heavy cleans along with my surfactant did retain that extra reverb, low noise and smooth mids from earlier on, but there was an added sense of grandeur now to the soundstage. There was also an organic element to the vocal presentation and the percussion. And there was a solidity to the bass guitar and a sense from the lead guitar that it was a real thing. There was a sense of realism. The guitar had a solidity, it had weight. You could almost feel the electricity flowing through it. That is, the guitar felt more alive. It felt as though it was more dominant in the mix. The sheer confidence from the music was just brimming. Actually, the music wasn't so much confident, it was arrogant. I then turned to an Ella Fitzgerald album which had been released via the German label Speaker's Corner. And with this vocal jazz piece, I was expecting less energy and more accuracy and more precision. Again, I began with a basic clean, no surfactant, and on that single heavy mode, and I tested that. Again, the initial response here was an opening up of the soundstage, especially within the upper frequencies, but the lower frequencies benefited too with the addition of this extra reverb, and they gave the guitar and the piano on the right channel a more noticeable character, but also they allowed the ride cymbal to become far more prominent in the mix on the left channel. Once the cycle had finished and I listened to that, I then added surfactant to the disc, and last time I did that and did 3 further cycles. This time I just did 1 extra cycle, just to see if that made any difference, just to see if I could hear anything, any improvement on an additional 1 extra cycle. So I went from 1 cycle to 2 cycles on this particular test. Again, though, there was the soundstage expansion. The soundstage just sounded larger, more impressive and expansive. This would actually make sense if, as I suspect, more of the stylus was hitting more of the now bare groove. The more barriers removed from the stylus and groove would mean more information could be read. That's what I was hearing here. Individual details were just beautiful too. The almost rubbery twang on the upright bass from a plucked string was quite delicious, for example, while the little tidbits of effort from Ella Fitzgerald's vocal as she leapt up and down her vocal cords was a wonder to behold. So the combination of the degritter and surfactant applied to the vinyl surface, that combo was a real winner, and I highly recommend that combination. So I went a bit silly, and instead of having 1, 2, 3 or 4 cycles, I did 6 complete cycles, and then I did a rinse cycle. So just to remind you, 1 cycle is covering the vinyl surface in surfactant and then pushing the vinyl in the slot and pressing heavy on the degritter, and I did 6 of those, and that took about an hour, I would say. Then I did a rinse because I wanted to get rid of all of the surfactants, and I would highly recommend doing this. I don't recommend having surfactants contacting your vinyl over a long term. During a clean, fine, but I'm not comfortable having all of these chemicals being in contact with your vinyl surface for, I don't know, days, weeks, months, put it that way. So use a rinse cycle, clean all that off. It actually does change the sound, as we'll see. So using 6 cycles and a rinse, wow, just wow. And what do I mean by wow? Well, the noise floor took a real nosedive, and there was a real richness of tone. The sheer imagery and organic flow from this song was jaw-droppingly, quality-drippingly incredible. For example, the ride cymbal never once faded before the next splash was applied. It just rode on the reverb tail. The brass offered a 3D solidity that you could almost walk around, while the upright bass provided a low-key power. I could also better hear the early piano and acoustic strains now. Normally both were so shy and reserved. The focus here was completely and utterly and wholly impressive. So that was just after 6 cycles. Then I added the rinse. Only then I added the rinse, and then I had another listen after just that rinse. So 6 cycles, rinse, listen, and the results: extra clarity, an essentially cleaner presentation. So what am I saying here? What am I recommending? Am I saying to you that you have to buy yourself a Degritter, £2,500, and then for every single record that you own, you have to go through over an hour's cleaning for every single record? Absolutely not. You don't have to follow my madness. I am a lost cause. You're looking at me now. I'm gone. There's no hope for me, folks. I am gone. But I'm quite happy. The trouble is, I've heard the difference. I can't go back. I've heard what this thing can do. I've heard the impressive nature of the actual cleaning. It takes me an hour to do every single record now. Now, I don't do this every single time, and I'm not suggesting that you follow me down the pathways of cleaning hell here, but I will be doing that on my own, folks. And you can wave me goodbye. And it's worth it for me, because I've heard the differences. I've heard the improvements. But you don't have to do that. You can go as far as you want. You can just use the Degritter, and you can use a quick cycle, which is a couple of minutes, and you can be done. And you can just go on to the next record, and it'll be pretty simple, painless. If you apply more cleaning cycles, and you apply surfactants, and you give it the old rinse, and I would include a rinse anyway. But if you go the extra mile, the thing is, the Degritter will reward you for your effort. If you work at cleaning your records, you will get the reward. Now, I've got more to say about this in a specialized cleaning video, which will be coming in the future. But for now, that's how I do my cleaning. Each one of my records gets a full hour clean, and that's a one-off. It never happens again. So if I need to clean my records, it'll be maybe after the, I don't know, after the 10th clean, say. So I've done a whole hour of cleaning. That gives that particular record entry onto my shelf, okay? So let's say I've played that record, I don't know, between 5 and 10 times. I'll give that record a quick clean, a bit of a spruce up, a wash and brush up, as it were. And then it's back on the record. It'll never get that hour's clean ever again. That's a one-off. So if you are tempted by cleaning these records, but the hour scares you, just think to yourself, well, this is just a one-off. It'll never happen again. It's done. And then just quick cleans is a sort of maintenance, and then you'll be sorted. So to repeat, well, look, you don't have to go to the cleaning lengths that I did. A simple single clean will be fine for most users. That said, if you want the ultimate in cleaning action, if you want to go to the brink, then I'm also here to tell you that the Degritter will stand by your side every step of the way and will produce sonic improvements every step of the way. So this tool has the potential to provide incredible results. It depends on you. It depends how far you want to push it. Before we end this review, what about Degritter's own liquid? The liquid itself is supposed to be applied into the bath, not on the actual surface of the record. And I added around 2 milliliters of that to the tank. As such, the liquid will last you a long, long time. You use such a small amount per application. It offers great value. Actually, in use, the Degritter liquid is okay. It does a decent job, and it's perfectly usable, but it's not as good as a direct-to-disc application of diluted Tergitol. So applying the Degritter liquid after a Tergitol dose actually adds a slight veiling layer to the overall soundstage across all frequencies. So yes, it does help in the cleaning process, and it's fine to get you underway once you've bought your Degritter, but there's better options out there, and I would recommend a surfactant upgrade when you can. So how can I conclude this review of the Degritter record cleaning machine? Well, it's reliable and definitely solid. I never had any issues in terms of use. It never broke down. It never stopped working. It was perfectly fine throughout the entire review period, and I really put it under pressure during that time. I actually cleaned 173 vinyl LPs. It's also, would you believe, cheap to actually run because it doesn't have any short, limited life replaceable parts. except for that filter, which you're welcome to make your own. It's also easy to use and you get that great feedback from the on-screen interface. I love the external bath. I love the hand holding. I love the software upgrades. I love the software control. I also love the fact that you just drop the vinyl into the slot and you press the button for go and then you walk away. This is the easiest ultrasonic cleaning machine currently available on the market as I'm making this video. Most of all though, I love its performance and the extra music it can drag from your vinyl grooves. That was, in a word, stunning. Standards are made and are made to be improved upon, and Degritter has done that. In fact, the sonic improvements from cleaning the records in the Degritter was similar to a major components upgrade. So what am I saying? Am I saying that this is the best record cleaning machine that you can buy? Well, yeah, I am. That's what I'm saying. So does that also mean that this is the best ultrasonic machine on the market? Yes, yes it is. It really is. To my mind, there is nothing out there that can touch it. The Degritter stands alone. And that's it folks. Thank you for staying to the end of this long video. Ultrasonic cleaners are such complex and involved pieces of machinery. So thank you for staying to the end. And even then, I had to offload half of my actual review to the description. So we got there in the end, guys. We got there in the end. But thank you for sticking with me. Don't forget, if you want to see some exclusive editorial, I have a Patreon page and I'll put a link below on that. Also, I have a Facebook group which is heavily moderated and completely safe for you. No trolls or nasty people allowed. Again, there's a link below. I'm on Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr and all kinds of places. So there's all kinds of links again down there. Don't forget my website. There are a host of reviews, news, features of all kinds of things which never make it to this channel. So that's a massive resource which you're welcome to peruse. Thank you again for supporting this channel. It's much appreciated. If you haven't done so already, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. All helps to push this channel forward. And I will be back next week, hopefully with a slightly shorter video next time around. Love to have your company, and until that time, bye bye for now.